So what happens when you mash a utility knife with a compact utility fixed blade? You get the cold steel click and cut. Well, that's right, folks. Welcome back to another video here at Gideonstactical. I'm Aaron, and we're gonna have a really cool experience today as we discover what this cold steel click and cut has to offer. Now, as I just showed you, this is basically taking the concept of, say, like a compact fixed blade, like this Mora Pro series, but giving you the blade replaceability as well as precision that you get out of a box cutter utility knife like this one. Because the deal with this tool is that it does not fold. It's not a folding knife in any way, shape, or form. It's based off of the super strong, tried and true cold steel triad locking system. And what you do is you just depress the lock back, it detaches the blade, and then in the Secure X sheath, you have different types of blades, and you can replace them. They are interchangeable, just like that. So that's more of a straight razor, utility knife blade versus the drop point I showed you a moment ago. Then there's a serrated version as well. And then boom, you pop it in, there you go, you're ready to rock and roll. So what we're gonna do today is just show you a little bit more detail. I've done a lot of testing with each of the blades to see which one I kind of connect with more. And we'll talk in concept, does this make a lot of sense to you as this kind of mashup between a compact utility fixed blade like a Mora or something like that, and a box cutter utility knife that is retractable or collapsible? Or is it better just to go with one actually fixed blade or one actual retractable box cutter? So we'll talk about all of that today as we break down the click and cut and see what this very unique and new for the market design has to offer. All right, guys, so we'll just kind of break down. I'm just gonna be running in tons of blade footage as we're talking about the actual blades themselves first, and just kind of give you the rundown. So these are gonna be 2.5 inches each of cutting edge. They are 0.06 inches thick, so really nice and thin, but still giving you enough rigidity that they're not going to flex quite like just a straight up box cutter, utility knife blade would be. And then they're going to be made out of 420 J2 steel. So that 420 J2, if you know anything about steel, that's a very budget steel. Very, very low end. And now cold steel always does a good job with their heat treats and things like that, but these are intended technically for, replaceability. So the edge retention is not great. It's not stellar. It's not going to be mind-blowing. The nice thing is that you can resharpen them, and they're kind of designed to be resharpened if need be. So that's a nice feature to have. But it's not any sort of high-end steel or anything like that. Now, on the drop point version, you're going to get a Scandi grind. And this is definitely designed more for either like outdoor use. So if you did want to use it, for like some feather stick making or something, you could absolutely do that. It actually performs pretty well in that way. And then obviously any other general utility tasks, it works well, but you get more of a drop point feel, so it feels more like a natural pocket knife than the sheep's foot design like the utility blades will have. So that's a cool feature. You could absolutely use it, as a little 2.5 inch carving knife around camp if you wanted to. Take it on your next hiking or camping trip and do all the finer little precision cuts and food prep, that type of stuff. You could get it done with that drop point specifically. Then you have that utility plain edge, just like you would get, and then you have that serrated, and they all perform well for their type of task, whatever you would be looking for. The full serration, works really well with a lot of the cordage, a lot of the man-made heavy materials, but the plain edge also does a really good job. Between the two, I prefer the plain edge if I was doing a bunch of utility work around the home, doing a bunch of gardening, whatever it is. I mean, that's about the level right now in my life of where utility knives are used the most, is either in the garage or in the backyard, just going through a lot of man-made materials in that regard. Now they're definitely larger, and I will run in here just for perspective there, what a normal utility knife is. And that's one of the big bonuses, I think, as well as the ability to be able to resharpen them for a while, before you would need to replace them. If you wanted to do that, you would probably be needing to resharpen them pretty frequently, probably every other day, depending on how hard you use them. you're going to get a lot more blade length, where it's like an inch about on average with a utility knife. This is going to give you 2.5, so you're getting a lot more real estate to work with, a lot more real estate to cut with, and it works well in that capacity. So you're just getting more usage, if you will, with the blade, which is really nice. So the packs will come once you, this is how the kit comes, one of each, so you can kind of get a feel for what you want. Then you can get a pack of 3, and it'll be either the drop point, the serrated, or the plain edge utility, and those are going to run you about $13 on average, $12.50 to $13 for a pack of 3. So, you know, whatever that equals out to be, $4 a blade, something like that. So it's not unreasonable. It's definitely obviously a way higher than, you know, a huge stack of utility knives. So that's a cost-effective thing you're gonna have to think about and consider when you're looking at this, you know, tool and this concept, particularly if you go through a lot of utility knives. So next up, we'll go ahead and look at the handle here. This is a big bonus. You know, a lot of utility knives, they're full, you know, but they don't always have the deep cut in like what you're going to see here on this, or they're, you know, pretty slim. And so you don't get the ergonomics that, say, like a full-blown fixed blade, you know, would offer you. Usually with the edge geometry and thinness and precision cutting that a utility knife like this would give you. So it's going to have a massive cut in. You are looking at a handle material that is ABS, so I'm not quite sure what ABS is. I'll annotate it in. I don't actually know if I've ever seen that before. Black in color, obviously 2 ounces in weight, so it's very lightweight, which is good, but it's still got a really good strong polymer, good texturing, pocking along there. 4-inch handle. So that just fills out my hand nicely. All my fingers can grab it very nicely. Doesn't cause any hot spots. Very full. So that texturing, that nice deep cut in. Got a lanyard hole if you wanted to throw a lanyard on there. I mean, you got some good traction. Really fills out the hand nicely, and I wear large size gloves. I mean, it could have been a little longer. You can see that my pinky's resting there. It doesn't feel like it's falling off. Maybe another inch. Half an inch on there would have been a little nice, just give you a little more real estate. But again, they are trying to keep it pretty compact for you. And again, just the way it's designed, you are going to be getting that triad locking system, basically, that won't fold, but releases that blade. And I mean, you can feel just a slight wobble, none up and down, just slight side to side. I mean, that's rock solid, way stronger than your average lock back, because there's nowhere for it to fold. It's not going to actually snap and fall, you know, close in on you, something like that. So that's a massive bonus in the designing of this little tool. This is made in Taiwan. The whole system is made in Taiwan, which is really nice. And then we'll look here at the sheath itself. So the sheath is really well done too. Reminds me a lot of like a Mora sheath, in that it's all polymer. You got that nice belt clip that will really grab onto your pocket or your belt, and it even comes with a little elastic strap to hold the handle. I kind of tucked it out of the way just because it wasn't really what I needed. It has a Velcro, but it's nice that it's there. The retention is good. It's going to go right in there, click into place, not going to fall out. It's pretty quiet. And then you have slits for 2 extra blades. So basically that 3-pack, you know, once you burn through and you feel like you need to replace, you would be able to do that. Or you could get, you know, 2-3 packs of different blade shapes and, you know, swap them out. Maybe, you know, half of your work you need the serrated and the other half you need just the plain edge, or want the plain edge. So I mean, that's really well done. The sheath is well done. I have 0 complaints with that. The fact that they have easily accessible blades that you can switch and swap, that does offer a lot of versatility for different types of cutting tasks that you may run into. So we'll go ahead and swap into price point competitive options. Now I paid $25 for this thing. That's the average going rate. We'll have links for you guys over to Amazon. They're already available there. Blade HQ, GP Knives, lots of places are carrying these now, and that's the average going rate is $25. So pretty inexpensive. I'm not going to break the bank by any means, by any stretch of the imagination. And then again, consider about $12.50 to $13 for a pack of 3 new blades that you may want to go through. So just though for competitive options, again, if we run in here this Mora, you know, this is from their Pro Series, all kinds of different shapes and styles that they offer. 3.5-inch blade. We're getting a very similar, you know, polymer sheath that will clip. You know, you can even stack other blades. You can stack a serrated blade on there, those type of things. And they can kind of, you know, tier off of each other. This thing's going to go about 10 to 15 bucks. Just depends on type of blade, you know, that, who, what, when, where, why. Let's say $15. So for 2 of them for 30 bucks, you can get 2 fixed blades that will have bigger handles. It is actually, you know, fixed blade, and you could get 2 of them, stack them on each other, one serrated, one plain, and go to town. Now you'll have to resharpen them pretty frequently. They're high carbon or stainless steels that are budget friendly, but that's, you know, something to consider. I know some of you gravitate more to the fixed blade format, so that's where maybe this really connects. It's basically a folding or not a folding, but a replaceable blade, fixed blade, in that concept with this click and cut. And then on the flip side, you know, you can get any utility knife, a retractable one for like $2 or $3, and you can get a folding one for, you know, definitely under 10. So, but obviously you're not going to get anywhere near the amount of real estate. The blades are way cheaper. So it's just pros and cons. I mean, it's really like, what is cost effective? What is your style? This is definitely a hybrid of the two, and it's really going to come down to, does the value of the replaceable blades to what you feel like you're getting out of them and performance make sense compared to trying to just go with fixed blades that you have to resharpen constantly, or retractable box cutter utility knives that you have to replace all the time that aren't necessarily always going to be as strong or reliable as this system is, and won't give you quite as much real estate. Well, there you have it, folks. I hope that you have had fun, that this video has been informative, but also just entertaining. And you know, if you're a blade addict like myself, just watching somebody work with a blade, even if you already own it, there's just something thrilling about that experience. So for me, guys, I think it has some really cool, interesting aspects to it. Since I'm not somebody who is constantly using a utility knife in my daily living, I'm not a construction worker anymore. I, again, used to be. You know, I'm not somebody who installs maybe carpet or does a lot of like polymer work, and you're cutting up like tarps and things maybe. You know, maybe working in a shop doing a lot of just X-Acto knife type of cuts. I think those type of people will be able to determine for sure whether or not this is something that really connects with them. And I want to hear in the comments below if you see value in this, either because you already own one and you use it daily, or you are somebody who usually uses a utility knife and this makes a lot of sense to you. For me, I think that there is definitely a group of people that will fall in love with it. There's a group of people that are going to be like, why? Like, I'll either just buy a Mora for, you know, half the cost, or I'll buy a box cutter and keep using those blades so I don't have to spend quite as much on the replaceable blades. But I think that Cold Steel, the concept, they executed it extremely well. I really liked what I'm seeing in the features and in the design, and I think for a particular group of people, it will absolutely connect really well with them. And so I'm looking forward to hearing the comments below on who those people are and what you see. You guys, the viewers, do you see this as really a really cool, unique idea, or is it something that's kind of redundant and it's just not needed on the market? So look forward to hearing that in the comments below. But I think the materials, the designing and the execution is really well done, and the idea is very unique and cool that Cold Steel has come up with this click and cut. So love you guys. Check out the other video popping up. Subscribe if you're not a current subscriber. We're throwing up content all the time, and check us out on Instagram, Facebook. That's another way that you can follow along, see what's up and coming. You would have already known this was up and coming because I posted about this recently on the social media. And finally, guys, don't forget you're not alone, and always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and we'll see you out there.